All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Kayoh with Hip Hop Revival. We tapping in face to face with Armani Caesar today.
That's right. It's the girl Armani Caesar Leo, First Lady of Griselda, 716 kid and all that. What's goody?
And you're not tuned in to Hip Hop Revival.
The Hip Hop Revival.
Shout out to HipHopsRevival.
I'm checking out Hip Hop Revival.
Shout out to Hip Hop Revival.
Okay, so for those who don't know, explain who you are.
I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm a rapper slash trapper slash bad bitch getter. You know, I'm from the winning team, Griselda. Shout out to the 716 kid, the Buffalo kids and all that. And yeah, you know, I'm a lyricist, a femc, if you will. But really like the hottest female rapper out right now, for real.
Dope. Okay, so how did you get the name Armani Caesar? Like, how did you come up with it, or where did it come from?
It came from DJ Shay, rest in peace. When I first started rapping, I used to go to the studio called Buff City Studios in Buffalo, New York. And, I came around, I was a young teenager or whatever, and he was like, you need a name. And we kind of just came up with a dual name because I'm a Gemini, and, I was pretty, but I could spit like a dude.
Yeah.
So he was like, Armani is like, classic, your bossed up female type self. And Caesar is like, the spitter. That's the, that's the one that's gonna go get it. That's the one that really be spitting that people is, gonna love you for, came from conquered, like that whole thing. So
for sure. No, it's a dope name. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
For sure. So, you say you're based out of Buffalo. I mean, you're from Buffalo. Are you still based out of there now, or No,
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now.
Okay, cool. What brought you to Charlotte?
I went to school in North Carolina. I went to North Carolina Central University, and then it was like I kind of just stayed. Like I have family and stuff down here previously before I moved down here in Charlotte. So it was more or less like I just bounced around different sides of North Carolina, and that's where I started getting my buzz at a little bit. So, yeah, just started from.
How's the music scene in the North Carolina area, like where you're at?
I mean, it's cool. Like, of course, you got DaBaby, representing Charlotte. You got Stunner Full Times that's here. You got so many talented artists, Tigo B.
Yeah.
Luke Nasty, like it's a bunch of people that's doing their thing from Charlotte. So I'm definitely in good company for sure.
For sure. So like, taking it back a little bit, like what made you start doing music? Like what was the reason there?
I just always loved music. I came from a musical background. Like my family, was heavy on the music. My grandmother was a hip hop head. My uncle was a DJ. My mom was in a choir. So it was just like, it was almost like I was always around music, and just being a kid and being in the hood around dudes, starting ciphers on a porch or on a corner or whatever. Like I wanted in, like it just seemed like it was fun. I loved doing it, and I used to write poetry all the time anyway. So it was kind of just something I fell into and just really good at.
That's dope. How did you connect with Griselda Records? Like how did that all come about?
It started at this studio, like I said, Buff City Studio. Shay had already had a group put together called Buff City, and that included Conway, Benny, and a bunch of other guys, and I was the only female. And I just came in there one day for some studio time, and Benny was writing to a song, and I ended up listening to the instrumental like over and over again, waiting for Shay to come out the back to schedule some studio time. And somebody heard me spit and was like, yo, like she's nice. So then they got Benny, and Benny was like, oh no, she sound crazy, let me go get Shay. Shay heard me, and it was like from then on we had put together a mixtape, and it was like I was the first lady of the group. So it was like I've been knowing these guys since I like for 10 years plus. So it's just, it kind of came natural once they started doing their thing with Griselda, and I was down in Charlotte doing my own thing. It was like, when West was finally looking for a first lady, it was, a no-brainer
Yeah. So did you end up getting on that record that he was playing that you were spitting to?
I did. Yeah, I did. It was a record called Undercover. And it was on my first mixtape, my very first mixtape called Bath and Body Work. And it was also on Benny's mixtape he was doing. I want to say, I can't even remember the name of it. It was so long ago. But yeah, I was on that song, and then we recorded that song. Then like we recorded 15 other songs, and I had a mixtape. So it was like from then on, it was like I was locked in. We did a photo shoot, and it was lit.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So okay, so you just dropped the Simply Done with Benny, and that record is super fire. Tell us how that was put together.
Thank you. It happened right around the time when Outside started opening up a little bit. Like this was the first studio session I had since quarantine had started. And I just went to Atlanta and I had recorded mad songs. So like this was at a time when, this was me and Wes' first time in the studio together. Well, no, the first time we were in the studio, it was in Alchemist studio out in LA when I first signed. But this was the first time since then that we had been studio, and I wanted to get my project knocked out and all my features knocked out. So I had did the Lil C's joint. Then I did I think a verse for Conway, and then I did my whole album, and that was like towards the end. And he didn't even tell me it was a Primo beat. I just happened, like he was like, yeah, like I did my verse, then he came into his verse, and he was like, yeah, so I'm gonna shoot this to Primo so he can put the scratches on it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what you mean, Primo who?
Yeah.
So I he told me that it was a DJ Premier beat. He texted Premier hit him back like, yo, fire. So it was like, okay, like, and then when I finally heard the final, I was like, oh yeah, this shit is hard. Like
Crazy. How's it like working with, somebody like that? You know what I'm saying? Like that's gotta be crazy.
I mean, it's like family because we all been knowing each other for so long. And more or less than anything, it's just really fun. Like the biggest thing Wes tell me all the time is just like have fun with it. Don't take nothing too serious. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start doing that, you take away from, the authenticity of the rap, and you want everything to sound like, even if you're doing something that's like super like hard or super whatever, like you want to make sure that you having fun with it, because at the end of the day, this what we grinded so hard for, was to do what we already know how to do. He was like, you already got the talent. I've been knew that you could spit. I've been knew, you know what I'm saying? You got the look. It's like, just do what you do. Don't worry about, trying to impress these people or, oh, I got to, think super hard on here. Don't overthink it. Just do you.
Yeah. So, I mean, besides, working with people like, DJ Premier and everything, like, who's some of the producers that you've been locking in with? Do you have like a go-to, producer, or what's your process on the selecting, the beats?
At this point, it's more or less like Wes is just throwing shit at me to see like what I'm gonna do with it. And right now it's like I'm 4 for 4. Like, everything that we did so far that we put out that y'all have actually heard, have done pretty well. Like as far as like the Premier joint, Complex Name, the Lil C's verse, top 10 verse of 2020, like I just did a joint named Anza on Conway's new record that he just dropped on Friday. That's going crazy. I think it's produced by Hitman. And it's lit. Like we just having fun with it. Like I'm not trying to box myself into no genre. And I think that, as a creative, as a person that write my own raps, as a person that's been doing this for a minute now, it's like I like that freedom, because as a female artist, everybody want to tell you how you should be or how you should look or how you should dress, or they're expecting you to look this one way because you rap like this, or vice versa, expecting you to sound like this if you look a certain way. And I'm full of surprises.
So speaking of like female artists and everything, how do you feel about the female scene right now? I feel like the girls are killing it, you know what I'm saying? The ladies are killing it for real. So like who's some of the let me word that better, who's who's some of the female artists that you know you're wanting to work with, and somebody that you're peeping and everything?
I mean, I'm willing to work with like any dope artist. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, you know, it's definitely like a time to be a female artist, you know. I want to work with people that are, you know, experimenting with different sounds though. Like, I feel like it's enough people doing the same thing that we've been hearing for all these years, and I feel like the lane that I'm in now is kind of like I'm dominating it because I'm the only one that's looking like me, sounding like this, you know? So I want to bring them into my world. I'm trying to get, you know what I'm saying, like a Cardi or a Nicki on a boom bap beat, like, so we can bring, you know, that real authentic sound back, you know what I'm saying? And no disrespect to what anybody else is doing or whatever, but I just feel like, you know, people hearing this, like real hip hop heads, it's a breath of fresh air, you know, to them. And it's also like for the new generation, a chance to kind of pay homage to the people that came before us and the ones that pioneered this whole thing, you know, because our generation, we quick to forget about, you know, the people that came before us. It's just about what's popping now, who out now.
Currently, you're so true, so right. So you also have a song with West Side Gun as well. Tell us, you know, a little bit more about that.
So we did two. Well, no. We actually did three. One is on his upcoming album that he's dropping on the 28th. The one that's on my record is called Countdown. I'm sorry, not Countdown. Mac 10's for everybody. I just dropped a video, well, a visual for it yesterday on my IG. And, you know, pictures for it. And it's just really like I'm going crazy on the beat, but I'm like dressed, you know, like on some Dorothy Dandridge, you know, Black Marilyn Monroe type vibe. And it's just kind of, it represents like clearly how classic and timeless not only I am, but also this project is going to be. Because, you know, I got Wes on it talking about he got Mac 10s for everybody. You know, I'm going crazy looking, you know, and looking like $1 million. And I think that that's how we giving it up. Like, you know, high fashion, of course, classic, timeless looks and visuals and music. And you know, just being able to do us. I mean, we still from the hood. We still from Buffalo, New York. So it's like, it's, you know, it's just a vibe. It's a vibe that ain't nobody got right now. It's a vibe that, like, everybody want to be on. And, you know, I just think, I don't know. It's like my brother. We always in the studio. He always trying to tell me to do something like, this next record that I'm going to be on that y'all going to hear later is like, I'm more so singing. You know, so that's new. And
that's what's up.
And then, you know, like, you know, my first one that I did with him, it was like I was just rapping. He just was like, just go crazy. And, you know, that was Lil C's. So
that's dope. So speaking of your album, it's dropping on the 18th, right? Like, who's on it feature wise, and then how about, you know, the producers?
It's a family affair. I got, you know, Westside, Conway, Benny on there. Premier did the Simply Done beat. We got 808 Mafia on Drillerama. We got let me see. I can't really think of like everybody because but I know for sure we got Armanis, Silent Drums, Primo, and a couple other people, but just like it's all Griselda sound. It's all
808 Mafia. So is that a Southside beat or?
No. It's a beat that we actually got from Benny. It was I was up in New York. This was actually the first song that I recorded before I even got signed. I was in Buffalo for a hosting, and me and Benny just happened to be up there at the same time, and we was just like linking the studio. So we put the beat up, and it was just like crazy. So we going back and forth on it, and it's a dope song. Like, everybody love it. It's called Drillerama, and it's fire. It's dope.
So that one boom bap, because that's a 808 Mafia. I feel like that's gonna be some trap, you know, trap part.
Yeah, you know, it's a little trap. It's a little trap, but you know, like one thing about it, like we all are very versatile, you know, and even though like boom bap is the Griselda sound, or like at least the signature Griselda sound, with me, I'm coming from doing trap music because I was in North Carolina, you know, like half my life now. So it's like that's kind of bridging the gap to, you know, my fans, pulling them over into the Griselda world, and then pulling the Griselda fans over into my world.
True.
And who better to transition with than my brother?
Yeah,
You know?
facts.
Yeah.
So, you know, besides your camp, you know what I'm saying? I know you're listening to your camp, but who else are you listening to? You know, anybody up and coming we should get hip to, or anybody that you think that we wouldn't expect that you're listening to?
I mean, I listen to like a lot of everything. As far as like new, I would say Don Toliver. I love Don Toliver. I love Summer Walker. DDG, Got a Fire Joint I like. Off the top, that's pretty much like all like I listen to. I mean, I still listen to a little Gunna, Thug, you know, all that. But you know, for the most part, if it's not that, it's me.
For sure. I feel you. So, you know, switching over to, you know, clothes and like what you do and everything. Tell us a little bit more about like Armani's Closet and, you know, how you came up with that and everything.
So Armani's Closet started literally from my closet. I started off selling like, you know, all my stuff on consignment. So like I would host a party or, you know, wear something for a photo shoot or something like that. And I would just throw it on the site for people to buy because I wasn't wearing it more than once. Yeah. And then eventually girls was hitting me up like, are you gonna get this back in, or you got this in another size? And I'm like, yo, these are one of ones. Like this is stuff out of my closet. But I knew that it was a need. I knew that it was a want there, and you know, I had to feed the streets. Yeah. So I ended up like making it an official in November of last year, 2019, and then it's just been going up. It's like, you know, we was just featured on BET. Meg Thee Stallion had on one of our dresses. We got a whole bunch of other celebrities that, you know, buy from us, and they're buying it. It's not like we are soliciting any, you know, like collabs or anything like that. It's just like all genuine love. So I'm just thankful and grateful that, you know, it's going up on its own, especially during a pandemic, you know, and that, like, so it's a blessing.
Yeah. Speaking of the pandemic, how is everything? Like, is it different? You know, is life different? I know it's like a lot more like let up and not so, you know, stressful, but you know, how's it treating you now?
I mean, it's different because it's like initially when I first got signed, you know, that next week I was going to go on my promo run and, you know, do my freestyles and all of that, like go up way and all of that. Right. And all of that was kind of shut down. So like with the interviews and stuff like that, I can't really tap in with y'all and like really get to meet face to face and stuff like that. That's a little different, as well as just like not being able to go. Like everything is kind of virtual now, you know? True. And if people are around, it's like, it's kind of scary. It's like, like you shooting videos. It's like, okay, like do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? Like, so, you know, it's different, but you know, we getting through it. Like at the end of the day, I always say, I'd rather that than nothing at all, you know? So.
True. How about, what's the 7-day manual for business? What is that all about?
So the 7-day manual is a manual that I put together when I first started my first business. And I started in 2016. And it's basically teaching people how to go about starting a business, retail business of any sort in 7 days. Like I started in December of 2016 when everybody was like, you know, oh, I'm going to wait and start my business come New Year's. You know, everybody do things New Year's. Yeah. So I was more or less like, nah, I want to start it like now. Mm-hmm. So it's for like all of the information as far as like getting everything expedited, what to say, how to go about getting your LLC, your tax ID numbers, vendors, you know, all like supplies and everything that you need for businesses. Just because, you know, when I did it at the time, girls would be in my inbox like, oh, how do I want to start a business, or can you mentor me, or can you tell me how to do this? And, you know, I wanted to answer all of those questions in one, you know, swell, like some one swoop, like,
Yeah.
so I don't have to worry about, you know, being in my DMs all the time, and, you know, give people a chance, especially like, you know, females, a chance to become their own bosses. And even if they don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur, like now is the time more than any time to make sure that you have multiple streams of income, just because, you know, the world been shut down, you know, earlier, and people getting laid off and unemployment is high. And it's just like, I've always been a hustler. I've always, you know, had to eat what I killed. And I live by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a hustler, like, to the core. So I think that I wanted to be able to teach other people not only just how to hustle, but just to be financially free and be their own boss.
Word. Where can people get that at? Where can they find it?
On the website, ArmaniCaesar.com. You know, Armanis Closet is on there. The music goes on there. The manual is on there. You know, so they can get the drip and I drop some jewels on them, like, you know. So yeah.
What's some of the most important advice that you ever received from somebody, like, that has to do with the music business? Like, what can you share with us?
I remember when I first met DaBaby, we did a video together called Above the Rim. And, you know, like, he was just always real cool and real supportive of everything that I was doing. Always let me know that I was really nice. And, you know, he just always used to be on me like, yo, you need to do some rapper shit. Did you do some rapper shit today? Because it was kind of like I was still kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with it. Like, I always knew I was nice. And a lot of people that's like super talented, they don't really work hard because it comes natural to them. And it's people that's like halfway talented that may have the work ethic and, you know, go all the way just because they work their ass off. And so he was just like, you know, like, you know, need to get on your shit. Like, so every day, like, he used to hit me like, yo, did you do some rapper shit today? And I remember one time we was on FaceTime and he was like, you see how you sitting there right now? He like, you know, you be doing these videos or whatever. I be seeing you doing your thing, but I feel like people need to see you like this. Like, people need to be able to see you just in your regular shit, you know, at the table or whatever, and just spitting. You know what I'm saying? That's what people like to see. Like, don't give a fuck about being perfect or having to be done up or, you know, like, don't give a fuck. And I always stuck with that, because soon after that, I started doing the Triller videos, which kind of like boosted my following up tremendously. I went from, I want to say 50K to like 200K just off of Triller videos alone, just dropping them shits. And that was really just because I ain't had no money to shoot no videos. But it was that mindset, like, you know, I'm just going to use what I have here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in the kitchen and just doing Triller videos, and like, it ran it up tremendously, and it was reshared by a bunch of people, and they got hundreds of thousands of views, and more views than I had ever got on any video that I actually paid for. So it was like, this, you know, he was definitely right. Like, and just not giving a fuck, that's just something to live by anyway, because the people gonna talk regardless. I'd rather they talk when I'm rich and don't, you know what I'm saying? And I'm living a lifestyle and living my dreams, and I'm not worried about shit, you know?
No, that's dope. That's super dope. So, anything else that you want to add or say, or anybody you want to shout out?
Just rest in peace, DJ Shay. Shout out to the 716 Buffalo, New York. Shout out to Charlotte, the 704, the 336, North Carolina as a whole. You know, that's where I got my first buzz at, for real. And, you know, really and truly, just shop Armani's Closet. That's where all the lit girls shop. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have merch for the guys, too. So you make sure that you locked in with that, you know, tapped in with that. Because when the Liz drop, you already know how Griselda do. They always come heavy with the merch. So, yeah. And the Liz, 918. What's good? It's your girl, Armani Caesar. And I'm tapping in face-to-face with HipHopsRevival. Chill.